What is there to do after celebration each night? Let's discuss. Welcome to Princess and Scoundrel, where we take you along our scrappily ever after from Fantasyland to Tatooine and everything in between. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Steven.
And last episode, we talked about what we did at Celebration, the actual convention itself. This time, we're going to talk about what we did after hours, if you will, at Celebration. There are so many events to do and go to and see, and it's just like Celebration, you can't do it all. But we did a lot of really fun stuff, and so we want to break that down. One of the things that we did, the very first thing that kicked off our trip actually, was go to the Bash, and we are joined by friends and very special guests, the Sonfields, Justin and Naomi.
Hello.
Justin is the commanding Legion commanding officer of the 501st Legion. He's the head honcho. He's in charge. And Naomi is a fellow travel agent. And so we are thrilled to have them on to talk about these events. So welcome, you guys.
Thank you for having us. It's great to see you guys again.
We're so excited.
Yeah.
We got to meet. In person.
In person. Isn't that great?
In real life. It was so fun. But yes, so you guys hosted the Bash, kicked off our trip.
Yep. We literally got off the plane, checked into the hotel, put a costume on, of course.
Yes.
And then went to the Bash.
Yeah.
So.
And then ran into you guys on the way into the Bash.
Which is surreal,
We were
right?
escorted in.
Seeing each other for the first time when you've known each other for months or years in certain cases.
It was really awesome.
Yeah, it was perfect. It was the great way to just start all of Celebration.
Yeah.
But this was your first time kind of hosting it. Can you give us tell us about the Bash? What is it? What's the history of it? How has it evolved over time?
So the Bash has always been a party that the costuming groups throw. Sometimes the costuming groups throw them individually. So the 501st will throw their Bash. The Mandalorian Mercs would throw their Bash, or Rebel Legion would throw theirs. But in the last couple of years, we've come together and thrown a single Bash. Many members of the costuming clubs are members of multiple costuming clubs. And so we wanted to have an event where we could pull everybody together and really kick off Celebration in a pretty special way. But it was, with COVID, 2 years of planning, from a 2020 celebration that was supposed to happen then and didn't happen, it was a little bit of a wild ride. I could tell you that like a month before it happened, Reed Pop came to us and said, maybe we should throw it on a different night because we've got a lot of other things going on that night. And, you guys were lucky enough to go see the premiere of Obi-Wan that night. But they made it happen, and we were able to throw one hell of a party with our co-sister costuming groups, and it was a lot of fun.
It was so much fun. I know it was one of those things where they announced you get to watch the Kenobi premiere, and that led into almost literally people left the Kenobi premiere, walked out the doors of that, and then walked straight into the Bash. So it was almost the perfect lead in to get over there.
And everybody was so hyped and positive. It really was just
yeah.
a great, way to kick off the week, because you had what everybody was waiting for the last couple of years in Star Wars, and most of the people that were at the Bash got to go see it, which was really neat.
Yeah, that was cool. So this was your first time hosting it, right? Were you involved in any of the planning beforehand, or was this your first go at it?
So this was our first go at it, and like I said, a lot of the planning had started before I took office, but there's a wonderful lady named Amber who really spearheaded the Bash, and she did the coordination from the bands to the catering to the negotiations, and then we as a group kind of decided on the charity aspect, so that was a big deal of the Bash. We had a silent auction, raised I think $11,000 for Starlight that night. Then had just amazing entertainment that went from a couple of different DJs to bands, and so all of that was pre-planned, and it's like any given party or wedding or anything, you're just hoping nothing goes wrong. And there was a couple of points in the night where the hotel was worried that it was a little bit too exciting and fun, and there were a lot of people there, but as it turned out, it was just everybody having a really good time, being very close together, and really just letting loose for the first time as a group in 3 years.
So as a costume group, or kind of the nexus of it is the costume groups, did you guys have plans for certain costumes going into it, or did you because I know some people came more casual. I know they had their Legion shirts on, and again, I think it's one of those events where it's to be able to talk to each other, right? So we're not always on, but this was one of those times that, it's kind of a fancy event. Let's put a costume on. Did you guys have anything in mind?
We did. We try to balance. We have the racer shirts that we like to wear in our off time, but we always love a good reason to get dressed up. But we had brought in so many costumes for actual celebration and almost every event that we went to. And so we ended up wearing our Star Cruiser evening costumes that we both really loved. And we're like, it's a great excuse to wear it again. A couple of years ago at the celebration in Chicago, so the theme then was like a night at Canto Bight. And there was a Facebook group that came up that was basically a posh night at Canto Bight. So a group of costumers that said, we want to dress up. We want to not just show up in racer shirts. We really want to, kind of put in a little effort to go formal. And when this bash was announced, that group kind of got some steam up again. And so you saw a lot of people at the bash that, that dressed up a little bit and treated it like a intergalactic, high society party. And I think it made it a little bit more fun, but on the other hand, it's great seeing as the leader of the 501st, it's great seeing the racer shirts because it's representing basically every area of the world, every area of the country, and you get to really quickly identify where someone is from, and it's always great to run into one of your own in a party like that, because it also shows that shirts don't necessarily just show where you're from, but they highlight what costume you have. Yeah. So that also makes a difference because, not necessarily, but there are many variations of the racer shirts. So, for example, I have one that's from my garrison, but then I also have one that's related to Captain Phasma, and then I have another one that's
TIE Pilot. JRS.
Yeah, JRS. So it's great.
It's really cool
to appreciate both sides of the spectrum, right? Like you can totally get dressed up and have fun with it, or you can be comfortable. And either way, it's appreciated just to get together and hang out and easily identify each other because it's been 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years.
3 years since Chicago. A lot of members are new or they have never actually met in person. So,
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
So it's a great way to easily break the ice if you have a shirt on, but even if you don't, like a lot of our friends, it's like Disney bounding, but like inspired by Rey or Leia. And it's just a fun way to express yourself no matter what you dress up as.
Yeah.
So I think that was the coolest part about the bash was just how accessible it was, especially from a costuming perspective, because it is made up of a bunch of costuming groups and it's called the bash. You're like, oh man, I need to go like all out for this thing. But I was talking to Justin beforehand. I was like, what do I wear? And you were like, whatever you want to wear. It doesn't matter. Like people will be in racing shirts. You're like, we're going to go all out and do Star Cruiser. And that's how it was. It was just a kind of come as you are or come as you want to type of thing. And there wasn't any real barrier or like struggle or stress to really like make things for the event. Because we did the same thing. We wore Star Cruiser outfits. Yeah. And it was nice because then you get a second use out of it too. Because it's not like we can wear those like to the grocery store.
Right.
Although I did tell Sarah that I want to.
You could.
I said I want to start making it our normal attire. It's just like Star Wars-ifying clothes.
Normalize.
We'll have even less friends in real life than we currently do. But yeah, it was so much fun that kicked off our trip completely because we literally I don't even think sat down before we made it to Bash. And then getting to see you guys and the friends that we've made online that maybe we met on like our Star Cruiser trip, but then people that we hadn't met before in real life either. And it was just really cool to just be in the same space and just hang out. It felt like a dedicated time in a very, very busy weekend to just hang out with your friends. And that was so appreciated, because during the convention, you would run into people and you'd be like, I've got to go to a panel, or I've got a photo op right now. And so it was always just like you would see each other for like a couple of minutes. But this was a dedicated time to just chill, have drinks, dance. And it was lovely. It was, I hadn't been to a party like that in so long. It was so
fun.
nice.
It was definitely fun.
The dance floor was packed.
It was packed, yeah.
It was
Yeah.
It was, I mean, this was very different than, and this was your first, it was your second celebration, right? Because you went to Orlando, I think, before.
Yeah, we went to the
It's our
celebration.
first bash.
First batch,
first batch.
second. Okay. This was different than any other celebration we've ever been to. First of all, I think the amount of friends that we all made, and this is everybody made over the last 2 years, whether it was just casually Zooming, and we would do virtual armor parties, virtual watch parties, and really networked with a lot of the folks that were in our regions. And then, we met this guy, Drew, that grew up in the New England garrison and moved out to California, and, never had met in real life, but had done all of this virtual stuff over the last 2 years. And you walk in a room and you see them for the first time and you're just like, I know you. It's like, it's almost like we've hung out in a room before,
Yeah.
like Mike Forrester. I'd never hung out in a room with Mike Forrester, but it was like, hey, there you are.
Well, and I think that was like the cool thing about it was, again, like you said, just being able to kind of put that face, like a real face to that name that you were talking to people.
Yeah.
So it was that interaction was definitely like the best part of it. But that also kind of led us into Mosh, like why we kind of put that on, because we had our own little emo kids that like Star Wars, and we knew we were going to be going.
Yep.
And so we said, hey, let's put on a little party.
Yeah. And when you say we, like, it wasn't you and me. We're
Yeah.
like, let's throw a party. Because Thank the Maker is comprised of like emo rock stars essentially. And so it was perfect. It was like the absolute perfect thing to be like, they already know how to do this. They know how to throw an emo night. They love Star Wars. We're there for Star Wars. And there's just a perfect like overlap of Star Wars fans, because Star Wars is emo. It's incredibly emo.
It's
It
pretty
is.
And people that enjoy emo music. And so we threw this party 2 nights after Bash. So the Bash was on Thursday night. Mosh Eisley was on Saturday night. And kind of the flip scenario of you guys, where you guys were putting on the Bash and having to deal with the planning of it and the stressing of it ahead of time. That was us for Mosh Eisley. So what was it like, I guess, as just an attendee and just getting to come and just like purely enjoy the event, hopefully enjoy the event?
It was so fun. We had a great time.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
No, stamp of approval for sure.
Yes. It was a great idea,
Yes.
and it really, you guys did a great job. It was so much
Oh,
fun
thank
to
you.
enjoy, and just we got to experience what you guys experienced at Bash, where you just got to like hang out with people and dance and have quick conversations, and it was just so much fun.
So truth be told, I'm an old fart. I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm the oldest one here by a good number of years. And so to be perfectly honest, I was playing in bands during that time period, but it was a little bit older type of music. And so I kind of missed the whole emo thing, I thought. And Naomi is 6 years younger than me, and she thought she had missed it, but
I knew all the words.
She knew
I knew
every
all the
word to every
songs.
song.
I knew it all.
And so for me, because I was always a rock guy, I loved it. I knew most of the songs, but not the way you guys knew the songs. And it was, as the old guy in the room, it was great to see everybody in their music, in their like, in what was their Linus blanket, what kept them warm, and everyone, just seemed to have such an incredible time, and I will tell you this, what was very fun to watch was you guys and how
Yeah.
much fun you were having on that stage, because you guys were the show. I mean, you don't know this, but you were the show. And to see
so weird.
to see everyone go all out and truly relax and have a great party was really cool to be a spectator of.
I just think it's neat no matter what we are all, have going on in our daily lives. I think for me, what was so special about Celebration is that you're meeting a lot of people that you have talked to but not necessarily met, new people, old friends. No matter what, you are just being your authentic self, and you really get to enjoy your time together with this shared appreciation of something that sounds like it's just a movie to someone, but it's really not. It's, it's so much more than that. And being around so many people that appreciate that is just like warm and fuzzy. And then everyone gets to enjoy themselves, and you appreciate seeing other people, you guys, up on stage and like enjoying yourself and just living it up. It's very infectious, and it helps all of us have a good time too.
Ugh, you're too nice.
Yeah. Well, no, I was going to agree with the sentiment, Justin, not with Naomi's, but I think using the analogy of the Linus blanket, everyone was comfortable, and we got to be our nerdy selves, loving Star Wars, our emo selves, the music that we listen to. So
I had to pretend to be like we were young again.
yeah. Well, just like it
For a
was
night.
like a safe space.
Yeah.
We were able to just be happy. So it was definitely one of those things too that we got to enjoy. So.
Yeah. No, it was nice. Full disclosure, I did not expect to get up on the stage. I don't know how that
You
happened,
owned
but it
it.
did.
You owned it.
You owned it.
You did
Well,
very
thank you.
well.
Yes. Everybody
Thank
did.
you. But it was fun. It was fun because, we haven't really addressed what Mosh Eisley was, but it was essentially, we say it was an emo night. We DJ'd the event. So we were just playing all of the emo songs that everybody knows and loves, or most of us in this chat know, but still love. And yeah, that was it. And then we were just up on stage, just like getting people excited for the music and getting people to sing along. And there was this really cool moment. We had this idea. We were like, let's split the pit at one point, and we will do we told everybody, bring your lightsabers. If you can bring your Savi's lightsabers, even better. And we're going to do a light side and a dark side. It's going to make for great pictures. It's going to be super fun. It's just going to be a cool moment for everybody. And then we had, thanks to our sponsor, Crafted Cores, they sponsored Mosh Eisley, and they had a booth set up. So if you wanted to go buy they have dual-sided kyber crystals. So if you put it in one way, it's one color. If you flip it, it's another color. And so we were telling people, like, if depending on what side of the pit you want to be on, you can go get your crystal and switch sides. And it was so much fun to just have that moment of like, all right, we're splitting the pit, and everybody split. And then we sang Bohemian Rhapsody, which is just like the perfect song to lend itself to like a good side and a bad side. So like half of the side is singing, Mamma Mia, Mamma Mia. And it was just like a core memory for me. Like, it was so cool to have so many people in the moment together. And that's such a rare thing to have nowadays when everybody's just like at each other's throats online. So to be in the same
And
room.
there's new
and
Star
have
Wars
this-
out. There's somebody talking bad about it somewhere for sure.
Yeah.
Just not here.
I know. Not here, no. But just to be able to share that moment together with so many people was...
And Broom Boy.
Yeah.
And
Right.
Broom Boy.
Well, I think that was the funnest part. It was just, we somewhat got to appreciate some costumes, the ones that really really popped out. But there was so many people that had done work for their costume. Like, I know, cough. You guys made a full outfit change for Mosh as well.
Y'all
did.
specifically built costumes
For
for
that.
Mosh Eisley.
Yeah, the bikini that we made for Naomi was, we made two versions, but it was started as the Mosh
It was.
version.
And then I was like, can we make another one to wear to Celebration? but it started as the Mosh one.
Yeah.
For sure.
My costume was easy. I was just Ben Solo. There's no more emo person in the Star Wars universe than Ben Solo.
With
Yeah,
a sweet wig.
Never
With a
wore
wig.
that.
Yeah.
So you never wore it. You did
No,
it, but you never wore it.
I never
anywhere,
wore it
so.
until this party. This was the one party where it was perfect.
But you guys didn't. You were saying you didn't expect people to do that, but then so many people did.
So many, and I think it was inspiring. First of all, no one had. I'm going to say this: no one had a more fanboy reaction to a costume than Matt Martin, who is the Lucas Story Group guy, to your costume. So when I was standing next to Matt, and he looks and sees you on stage and sees your Sammy outfit. And he goes, "Oh my God, that's so cool!" And he starts snapping pictures. So that was the big moment.
Happened.
Yeah. And so when you said bikini, so the listeners could know.
And if you're watching, it'll be up on YouTube.
Yeah, we'll have a picture.
Yes.
But she had the Hut Slayer bikini, but it was
Beskar, right?
Beskar.
So it was like more black and gray. It was super.
So
like it was like a
good.
cool variant
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. And then you had like the striped skirt that went with it too.
You had to stripe out for emo.
Yeah.
And then Justin had the whole wig and everything, and
You wore the wig at the end of the night.
So for the
you really?
watchers, you could.
Are you gonna put your
I'll put the
insert
video
your
in the
video?
clip. We could an outtake or something.
That was at the end of a long fun night.
Very long, very fun night, and we had an after party after that. I mean, the celebration.
Oh my God, we did! I forgot about that.
That was a long night.
Yeah,
it was a very long night.
But it was really fun. It was really fun.
Well, especially like because it happened in California. We're in like completely different time zones. We're central. You guys are eastern.
Yes.
So like partying till 2 a.m. every night, California time is
Really late for us.
really late for mom and dad. But it didn't feel like it. It was fun.
That's fun.
But no, you guys absolutely crushed it with your Mosh cosplays.
Well,
they were fantastic. That was all
Thank
him.
you.
No, but you guys did great. I mean, I think the most epic picture of the entire party is you, Sarah, with the lightsaber.
Yeah.
It's so perfect. Insert photo here.
Oh my God. And Mike made that meme of like Sarah at Celebration and Sarah at Mosh Eisley. They're very different,
It was
Sarah.
really great.
It's pretty good.
But so in between those two events, we had the bash on Thursday night. We had Mosh Eisley on Saturday night. On Friday night, Disneyland hosted they call them Disneyland After Dark, so an after hours event that was Star Wars night. That was our very first time ever stepping foot in Disneyland.
Oh.
And I think that was y'all's first time too, right?
My second, so I had done one trip to Disneyland right after Galaxy's Edge opened in that time period where East had not opened yet, and I just had to see it. So I had been there once, but it was like a beeline straight to Galaxy's Edge. I was late and was there for a couple hours and out. So no, I had not really done Disneyland before, and you had done it
When I was 8.
Yeah.
So it
Oh my
been
goodness.
a long time. Yeah. So,
So
it was
then,
amazing.
so not your first time, but
Pretty
but
much.
it was your first
yeah.
time.
Like I don't remember being there when I was little. So like
Yeah.
it was definitely a memorable experience.
Yes,
For sure.
definitely. And you know,
It felt like the first time.
so we caught a lot of flack for filming our reaction to the Disneyland castle. Because we're Disney Worlders and you guys go to Disney World
Worlders, yes.
all the time. We're the same people. We caught a lot of flack because when we turned that corner at Main Street and we saw the castle, we're looking, our eye line is up here, and then you turn the corner and the castle's like all the way down there, and you were like, oh. It was shocking. So I'm curious what your second impression of the castles, and be kind.
Well, I think, and we'll go through it. I think there's some pluses and minuses to both, you know, so it balances out.
Yeah.
But
It's
go ahead.
just so funny because we walked in and we were like, it's the same, but it's different. And it's kind of fun to go through and compare. And we got there, this is to move forward a little bit, but when we got to Batu, because we spend so much time in Disney World, it was really fun to spot the differences there. They're very subtle, but it was like kind of fun. As far as the castle goes, it was unexpected.
We like to say cozy around these parts.
Yeah.
It's cozy.
But yeah, I mean, we're so used to the grandeur of the Cinderella castle that Snow White Castle is just a little smaller.
I will say they did a really good job of projections and extra stuff on the buildings of Main Street to kind of like make up for the difference. We missed the fireworks
Yeah.
for the Star Wars night
Oh.
in front of the castle. But I got to go see the fireworks in the background of the Millennium Falcon, and that was like amazing because that's not something.
Wait, so
you can
y'all were
get.
back by the Falcon?
We were.
Yes.
So
Yes.
were we, though.
Yeah. Well, we were at the front of the Falcon.
Yeah, we were like all the way like the Oga side of the Falcon.
Yeah,
Oh,
we were,
yeah.
we were
Great spot.
actually in a line to
He
get
was.
food
I was
at Ronto's
pieced out.
Raptors.
I was like,
Ron-
I'm not missing this. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. You can wait in line for my food. I'm going to go watch the fireworks. And it was amazing. It was so cool. So that,
Yeah.
you can't get that anywhere else. So I'm so glad that I got to experience that.
Yeah, I'd say that's on the plus side of this After Dark party. Now, was this your first After Dark event as well at any park, or have you been to others?
No, we've been to a couple other ones. We've been to the Mickey's Not So Scary. I think, have we been to a Christmas one yet?
No, we haven't done Christmas.
We haven't done
But
Christmas
the big
either.
one we did before was Galactic Nights, and
We did
that was at Hollywood Studios. Which,
That was Celebration Orlando.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in comparison, I think that one was way more fun.
Mhm.
And I don't know how to like really pinpoint it because they still had the picture the scenes to take pictures, but it almost felt like this event was closer to full capacity.
Yes.
Like there was a
I
lot
would
of
agree.
people.
There were a lot of
Mhm.
And
there were a lot of people.
The hard thing, the first time we went to Celebration, we were new to it. We didn't know really everything that was available to us at Celebration necessarily. But this time around, I didn't really want to wait for these pictures with either characters or these backdrops because we were at Celebration. You're going
Right.
to see
100%.
these
Yeah.
movie accurate costumes or backdrops like over there
And no lines.
and no
No
lines.
lines.
Yeah.
No
So-
lines. Yeah.
So I was like, I don't want to wait for that. And so that left food, which there was a lot of appealing food, but not enough to wait an hour and a half.
Right.
Yeah, because you
to-
had if you mobile ordered, it was like 3 hours out because we didn't eat dinner that night.
Yeah.
We ended up eating popcorn and
Yes.
blue milk.
Yeah.
Which I will have to say,
we did try the new
yes,
new drinks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
those were good. I
Did you do
those.
the different
We
blue and
did.
green milk?
Yes, we did
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
one
so that's
for
what
the
we
night
did.
and the seasonal one. There were two, right?
Yeah.
Blue
Yes.
milk one and a green
The
milk.
blue
We
milk
did
had
both.
like the mango
Yes.
Yes.
swirl in it. That's the one I had. And then he just loves tahini on like
Oh, same.
I
everything.
mean, it's delicious.
Stephen, you and I, we're going to get along great. I mean, when you see the pizza that I have now, it's just basically covered.
in tahini.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, tahini.
Oh,
on
my
pizza.
God. So good.
And on
Sarah's poor
fruit.
Oh
tummy.
God.
On
My
fruit?
poor tummy.
On
Where are my
pineapple?
tums? Where are my tums?
Yeah.
Yes, that's a big one.
Yeah. That's what I eat all the time.
See, we're hungry now because we didn't get to eat at Disneyland
Yeah.
at Star Wars night.
No, that I would say
But yeah, so-
that was sorry, Steve. That was one of the big negatives was food lines, food time, waiting. Docking Bay had a very limited menu. It was tough to eat. We found.
And I think that that's what we weren't accustomed to because that was one of the difference where someone did like tell us beforehand. They're like, make sure that when you get there, you kind of pick your mobile order times when you get there. And then if you don't use them, you can push them out a little bit. I did not fully grasp that concept until it was too late because at Disney World, you can mobile order and basically get it at the same time. There's like no in-between waiting at all. So I didn't grasp that. And by the time I did it, and it sunk in. I was like, oh no, I really did need to make a mobile order before I actually wanted to eat because it was that much of a time difference.
Yep.
So we didn't really get to experience much of the special food either, which, you know, we tend to do that for the after hours events, but we just didn't get there. I'm glad we got the blue milk because it was great. And did we get into Oga's that night?
That would I'm going to list that as a plus.
Yes.
Oh, we did.
Getting into standby and Oga's was achievable,
Yes.
and that was a good thing.
We were refreshing a lot, but we eventually made
but
it.
it was tricky because it was Star Wars night and part of Celebration. There's all the celebrities that were at Celebration, and so we were sitting there waiting for some of our friends to get off of Smuggler's Run, and so we're just sitting there waiting. And we're like, oh my God. It was like, felt like we were waiting for a little bit, and then all of a sudden I see a plaid vest walk by. I was like, a plaid vest at an after party? That's strange. Like a VIP tour, if you don't know what a plaid vest is. And then all of a sudden I see this really tall guy, and I was like, oh my God, that's Favreau. And then I see this other guy, and he's not wearing the cowboy hat, but it was Filoni. And I was like, oh my God, I was like, oh, they're here. And so they walked past us, and I think we had some friends in Oga's. We had some friends that were on Smuggler's Run, and we're like in the middle. And they walked one way, they walked like towards the front of Oga's, and then they walked around the back side of Oga's, which was like a backstage area. And then the friends of ours that were in Oga's were like, they're in here. And by that point, everybody's back together outside, and the people that were in Oga's stayed. They're like, we're not leaving.
Yeah, so like there was no movement.
Right.
And we had reservations to get into Oga's, and they weren't letting anybody in because
They were in there.
Favreau and Filoni were in there. So I think that made it difficult. Like, we all ended up getting into Oga's like at the very end of the night. I don't think we walked into Oga's till like 12:30 or something. It was really late. So like later on in the night it was achievable, but that whole thing, because they were in there, it just like halted everything for like a good hour.
Another plus to the Disneyland After Dark Star Wars event was the lightsaber meetup.
Yes.
We had never
That was
been a part
incredible.
of that because, you know, I appreciate things about both parks. I got, I think, a new appreciation for Disney World, realizing now that that's my home park. And sometimes I think because we go quite often, it's like I might take it for granted. And going to a different one made me appreciate what I love about Disney World. And going to Disneyland made me realize what I love about that park. And Disneyland is a unique situation because it's so close to LA, and the character experiences are so much more amazing, and and there are more of them.
Yeah, a lot more of characters.
A lot more of them. But then also the attendees of the park, I feel like, are more, how do you say that? Invested, maybe, into bounding, theming. And so when there's a lightsaber meetup, it's insane. Now, it was a Star Wars night, so I get it. But I don't know. Was there even a Star Wars lightsaber meetup for Galactic Nights? I don't know.
No,
I
because
don't
Big
think
2
so.
wasn't open
Nope.
yet.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
It wasn't. And we've seen pictures of it there, but because World is so much more sprawled out and it's much more tourist based, that
And the heat.
and the heat.
Yeah. You just don't
it's
see
just-
the costuming that you see here.
And you also don't see the amount of people getting together to do a lightsaber meetup. It's just not as...
There hasn't been one like that.
No, it's not like that.
No.
I mean, that was like mind-blowing to see all
Yeah.
those people
And there
with
probably
lightsabers.
won't be
Right.
another one until the next Celebration Star Wars night, because everybody there that paid that admission was like a big Star Wars fan.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't even know how many people there were in that lightsaber meetup. It was massive.
Massive.
Because like we were
Overflowing.
we
Yes.
were in front of Oga's Cantina and we could not get through the crowd. Like there had to be over 1,000 maybe over 2,000 people.
Yeah, there was a lot of people.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, it got to a point where you're just kind of like, all right, I'm not moving for air.
Yeah.
Let
We
the
were
camera
lucky.
take some pictures.
And we got there early, and then someone kind of left. So we kind of
It was kind of the same thing as
split
coming
up.
off the fireworks. We were there as opposed to people coming in from the fireworks.
Yeah.
But we made a critical error in that night. And we had said when we walked in that we did not want to spend all of our time on Batu. We wanted to actually enjoy the rest of the park. And it just so happened we had friends in our group that had never been to a Galaxy's Edge before. And so they wanted to, the first thing to do was get in the line for Rise. And we did. And it was actually a fairly fast queue.
And it was exciting.
It was exciting to watch
their reaction. Someone that is your friend and you care about, to see their reaction for the first time, like it's reminds you of your first time, and it's super emotional, and it was great.
But
we didn't think we were going to do that
the entire night,
We were
which
there
was
the
not
entire
what we
night.
wanted to do.
And we didn't do one single photo op. But again, to your point, Stephen, we're spoiled with costumes. So like for us to get a picture, we get to be the characters most of the time. So it's like it wasn't like
Mine's
our
better.
priority.
My costume's better.
Yeah, you're like, I
Oh,
can
nah,
do that.
different.
No big deal.
Different.
But y'all even dressed up for. Speaking of that, you dressed up. You were characters for
Did.
Star Wars night.
Did.
You did your Saja costumes
Yeah.
for the lightsaber meetup.
Yeah.
Yes. Which is very
Good
special.
job on that one.
Oh, the inspiration was you guys. I mean, at the end of the day, Dano and everyone that was making these Saja costumes, it was you guys that we looked to and said, oh, wow, we could do this too. And it could be a good group and a good little homage to the Star Cruiser.
So we copied you,
Yes.
and it was great.
Well, I think that's funny because like Dano was doing it and a couple of other people were doing it. And I mentioned to Dano, I was like, I think Steven might do a Saja, maybe. And then I think maybe he told you or you saw that we were getting involved and y'all started doing it. And I was like, well, Justin and Naomi are doing it. So it was like, y'all inspired Steven to do it because that didn't come together until
Very
the last week.
It's a great costume.
It is.
It's a great costume. And it's a
It's a
cool,
good
it's a
costume.
great new character in Star Wars. I think
Yeah.
the Saja is going to play into our backstory the next time we go. So
It's
we'll see.
definitely a deep
Ooh.
cut, though. A lot of people were like, "That no one's gonna know what you are." But if you know,
you know.
and it's a deep cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. We
It was also
appreciate it so much.
explaining it was fun explaining to people that didn't know what a Saja was without spoilers, but to tell them what they were and how they're going to be important to the future of Star Wars. It was kind of fun.
That's cool. Yeah, we kind of made the same mistake as you. We're like, we don't need to go to Batu. There's a whole rest of the park that we have never been to before. So we're going to go do those things. And we tried to do Hyperspace Mountain when we very first got there. It was down for
Oh wow,
Good
That's
while.
Was
right.
it?
a
That's
good
right.
long
Yeah.
time. Yeah, it didn't come back up until probably like 11 o'clock at night or something. It was
Oh my
pretty late.
goodness.
So, but yeah, we ended up spending probably half the party or more on Batu.
And then we went out, but we were able to ride a good number of rides.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we were able to do enough, but yeah, we were the same way. We're like, oh my gosh, like it's after hours. There's not going to be any lines for any of the
Yes.
rides.
Right.
And then we ended up just hanging out with our friends. And I think that's where it was different this time versus last time when we went to Galactic Nights in Orlando is we didn't know anybody
Same.
at
Same.
all for Celebration when we went there. So we were able to just kind of do the things that we wanted to do. And then the other thing with Celebration or with Galactic Nights in Orlando is there was a purpose for everything that you did.
Yes.
So y'all were there, you got the lanyard
Yep.
and they tell you multiple times, go take pictures at each of the photo ops and get your sticker and put it on your lanyard. And they basically like you're going to school. They're like, complete this whole thing, get all your stickers. And you're like, okay. And you go around and do it. And then there was this really cool payoff at the end, right before they do the fireworks. They had a
Right.
show about it. And Star Wars Night didn't have that like cohesiveness. It was just kind of like, we're offering these things in the park and the park is opened up, but they didn't feel like there was special. I think there may have been the parade. Like
Well, they had
the March of the
guests,
First
yeah.
Order, and
Well, they had the
they had a little dance party too.
they had a march or a parade where it was people costumed could walk
Yeah.
down.
Oh
wow.
yeah, they did do
Yes.
that.
Oh, I missed
Yeah.
that.
They had that.
That would have
But-
been cool.
Yeah.
But the other one had like the Star Wars celebrities going through on like the cars and things like that. And then I think the other part of it was because Galactic Nights, it was before Galaxy's Edge. If you're going to watch the fireworks that night, you're watching it in front of the castle. So that pulled everybody into one spot at a certain time.
Yep.
Yes.
And because you could watch the fireworks from Batuu or you could watch them from the castle, it kind of just like split people. So it didn't feel like there was an objective to the night, really.
And I will tell you that we went to the subsequent Galactic Nights that happened at the, I guess at the Return Last Jedi premiere and also in the Solo premiere. So there were 3 of them, I think, that they threw. And that first one was a little bit of lightning in a bottle. Neither of the other 2 were like that. But I mean, it is so cool. So to kind of put where this whole family thing goes, you were there. We have like tens of friends that were at this party. We knew nobody. We were the exact same.
Because that was Orlando was our first celebration. We weren't a part of Rebel Legion or the 501st. We just went as fans. We went to the booth and we talked to them about the costumes that we had and what we had worn there, and they gave us tips on what to change and gave us information on how to join the clubs and go through the proper channels. Well, your Kylo Ren was not approved.
No, not yet.
But it was the first costume you sewed made.
And we weren't in anything.
But we weren't in anything, so we were also felt the same way as you, where we had the freedom to just kind of do what we want because we didn't know anyone. It was just us figuring stuff out. We didn't have to make at Celebration like a photo op. And then at Galactic Nights, we dressed up for it, but we just got to experience everything. I also think the plus about Galactic Nights was that they had mini panels.
Yes.
They had a Galaxy's Edge panel for one, and then
some other panel. I can't remember what it was, but there was 2 different.
The voice actor was
there. And Tudyk.
Yes.
Was that one?
Yeah. I don't know if it was that one, but it might have been the next one. But
they took that Indiana Jones theater and they made it into an event space and did like panels that night. And so yes, you had the objective of filling up your lanyard and getting the thing for the mystery reveal at the end, but they also had information panels that was almost Celebration-like, and for people that weren't at Celebration, you kind of got a little inside information that was going on. So that was kind of cool.
And we also got...
That is cool. We didn't do that.
Yeah, we didn't do those.
There was merch, which we got the merch for.
Yeah.
Was there merch for Star Wars Night Disneyland? If there was, I didn't know where it was or where to get it.
Well, they released the Ahsoka sabers.
Yeah.
They had like more of those.
Yes.
The Camtonos.
The Camtono came out.
That was the big hit.
And then like the Ahsoka cosplay. But I don't think they had any
Like
event-specific
t-shirt,
merch.
yeah. Which Galactic
I was
Nights
going to wear my
did.
Galactic Nights shirt that I have because we still wear ours all the time.
Same.
I think it would have been cool if they would have had Boba show up at night because it was like the next day that they announced them, and it's like how awesome would it have been. You just see Boba walking around, and you're like, is that a character or is that a...
Maybe that's why they didn't.
Maybe. I don't know.
But yeah, it would have been really cool to have debuted him at the party.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Missed opportunity.
It was.
Good for next time.
But it was a fun night. Like, it was a fun party.
Yeah.
I think what made this one different and more fun, not more fun, but just a completely different vibe was that we did know people.
Yes.
And we were able to, like, we saw you guys at the very end of the night when we all shut down Oka's Cantina together. But being there with friends and getting to run around the park, and it was our first time at the park, that was a really cool experience. And then too, like you said, collectively with the lightsaber meetup. Yeah, we didn't know all those people, but we were all having this shared moment, and that was really special too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really special.
It was awesome. And now we've got a long time to wait for the next celebration.
Well, it's not that long. I mean, you know, relative to 3 years before, that was a long time.
Less than a year.
Less than a year away.
Yeah.
In a country far away, you know?
I know.
So do you have plans for the next bash?
I'm
I'm assuming you're
starting.
going to have one over there, right? Or
Oh
no?
yeah, there's gonna. I mean, the idea is to throw the same type of party, and it's great because you do get a different audience from around the world, and you know we'll also be a little further away from the COVID thing, and hopefully, So, we're hoping that we get just a great global turnout again. But yeah, it's the idea is to do many of the same things. The facility there is fantastic from what I hear. I sent an email off trying to get things started, and they're just not ready. Reed Pop's, I think, still got a couple other things going on, so they're not ready just yet. But they will be soon, and we'll start planning.
I think
that's exciting.
The exciting part about it being in the UK is that there'll be so much more of a global presence that we experienced in Chicago, but like less so now because it's post-COVID and it's just was more difficult for everyone to, travel and there were all the restrictions. But I think it's going to be great to be able to meet all the people globally, especially you. It's mainly you.
No.
Because, the 501st is a global organization.
I tell you,
he's met a lot of people that weren't able to be in Anaheim.
I think one of the the best parts about this job with the 501st is really getting to meet all these different people from all different walks of life with different languages and different ways they approached the saga. Whether it was people that started, old guys like me that started with the original, or those that came along with the the prequels, or then the new trilogy. As a club, we tripled in size from 2015, and so it's a very, very different landscape than it was when it first started, and to be able to finally get into rooms and meet all these people, it's an amazing thing. And so I really look forward to it. I don't know if I'll be leading it at that point in time, but it'll be great to see all the people who we've met along the way, virtually, that we didn't get to meet this time, and see them in person there, because it's going to be a different audience, and that's a neat thing as well.
It is
cool.
All the celebrations. This Anaheim was our third, and I feel like that's not a lot. Some people have been to so many.
Some people have been to all of them,
but for us, each one was a different experience. Our investment level was different at each one, so that obviously plays into part of it. But also, just the actual conventions were different in size and scale because each venue was a little different. And but it's always been like an adding on. Each one keeps getting better and better. And that's
let's flip it back on you. What was it like as the first celebration as content creators?
Yeah.
It was weird.
No, I think, it was very interesting for sure. It's, I guess, validating in the sense that, we're talking, having these conversations, and there are people that listen, and
that's a wild thought,
entertained, by it.
Yeah.
So that's one of those really cool moments, just being stopped on the showroom floor. Hey, I listened to the show. So it was very different for sure, but a good different for sure.
Yeah. No, it was really, really, really neat because up until Celebration, we had just been doing this here in our house, and it's just the two of us. And so we don't get to interact with people like face to face as a result of this. And so being able to do that at Celebration and have, like you said, having people know who we were, and we're like, who are you? You watch us? Like, it was so strange because to us, it's just like, we're just having conversations and we throw it up on YouTube and we see what happens with it. But for other people to find us entertaining in some way was really neat. Really, really neat, but also a little overwhelming. Like, why us?
It's awesome.
No, it was cool. So speaking of the future and London and future plans, is there anything that you guys have coming up that you want to talk about? What do you have going on?
Oh, I feel like we always have costumes in the works. Always. And Justin's very good at making costumes of quality and very timely. I am not so timely.
She's a little slow.
I'm slow.
But she's
Me too.
so much better with the details than I am.
I'm meticulous. That's, I think, why.
Yes, she's
There you
very.
go.
I mean, there's. I'm looking on a door right here. That all it needs is a sewn-on patch, and it would be a done costume. But it's been sitting there for a long time.
Yes.
But it'll get done.
It'll get done.
Meanwhile, I just bought another 3D printer, and we're printing new helmets. So, well, tell them what your next costume is. I think you're wearing
I'm
the
hinting
hint.
at it right now.
Your shirt and your hat hinted pretty well.
Hinting.
Nice little Ahsoka.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if you're listening to the podcast, you don't get the hint.
Oh, that's true.
She's wearing
True.
the.
See, that's the
elite
professionalism
Ahsoka.
right there. I wouldn't
That
know
was
that.
a good catch. Yes.
Yeah,
So I have the Ahsoka ears that were released on May the 4th, right?
I think so.
So are you going with a certain like
Yes.
Clone Wars
No.
show or
More recent release because
Mandalorian?
Rosario is a little closer to my age. It's something as a cosplayer, like I've really started to like realize I need to think about. I'm like, oh, I need to pick the actors and actresses that are a little bit more.
A lot
You
of
don't.
our costumes are intentionally couple driven.
Yes.
And so I had worked on the Mandalorian costume for a long time, and so the idea of having the match to that is
Yeah, we
that'd
do
be
like
cool.
to
what
match.
started that.
So it started with the
That's cool.
armor, but he's also being modest, and he's made the Bo-Katan helmet and almost the whole thing. I just have to.
So
Sewing takes a long time for me.
It
It
does.
takes a long
Honestly,
time.
Hard.
like, especially if you're doing like a pattern or something, and you
Yes.
have to read and like you have to read and almost like translate what the pattern speak is into like, okay, what does that
Real
actually mean?
language.
Like, what am I supposed to do?
Yes.
Like, it takes. I'm the same way. Like, it takes me forever to do a costume, and then he'll just come in and be like, whoop, 2 costumes in a week.
Let's see,
Yeah,
I'm more
massage
the
and a Sammy.
fast.
Yes.
I just try to get
I'm
it
the
done.
same way.
He's so
I'm the
fast,
same
but it
way.
looks so good. And he'll tell me, he'll be like, whip it up. And I'm like, that's not how I work. And also, like, the pattern making, because everything, there's not really a pattern. You kind of have to alter things to make it
Yep.
the actual pattern itself, to make it movie accurate. So that, for me, takes a lot longer.
We both started 2 costumes at the beginning of the pandemic that have since been abandoned, but we should get back to.
Yeah.
So I started latch hooking Chewbacca, which is such a task, and it's just I'm trying to get back into it. I think the best mask maker made me my mask, and they just want me to finish, and I just have not, and so that's bad. But Naomi started with Zori Bliss, and was doing the whole suit. And
He made the whole helmet. It's all done. I have the shoes, the blaster. The leather is not done.
the leather's not done.
The
That's
leather's not done.
easy leather.
Yeah.
Get that done.
That's something that he learned to do over the pandemic, is to leather
Leather work.
working. So,
It's very relaxing.
I think that's Sarah's next
That's-
skill that she wants
Oh,
to try
it's
to.
so relaxed,
Yes.
Sarah. You'll love it.
Oh, I want to do it so bad. I'll be slow about it, but I want to do it.
Someone described it. It's basically like a combination between sewing soft parts and armor building.
Yeah.
It's like if you took the 2 and they could have a baby. That's what it's really like, and
I'm into it.
it's
cool.
not bad.
I'm into that big
Yeah.
time.
Totally. What's next?
Okay, well then I need to talk to you about that.
Oh,
Is there anything
definitely.
else that you guys wanted to talk about that you've got coming up?
I mean, not really much going on. We summertime here is, we try to stay as much time on the water as possible, because we don't have, unlike you guys that have a summer all year round, we really only have a couple of months to get outside, and then it's inside again. So most of our big costume building happens during the winter.
yeah.
We're going back to the Star Cruiser for New Year's Eve. That's going to be pretty fun.
It's exciting.
Oh,
So
I'm so
exciting.
excited for you.
You guys are going
That's
back.
going to be fun. We are going
Yeah, we are.
back. We'll report back and let you know if
There you
anything's
go.
changed. All right, and we will link y'all's Instagram profiles in the show notes and the description. But thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us. It's
Thank
been
you,
a long time
guys.
coming. We've been
Thank
talking
you.
about having y'all on for, I think, even before we started the podcast.
I want to say, meeting you folks in person, it was, when we look back at this picture of all of us on that last night, and you guys were all already friends. And first of all, thank you for inviting our family. Thank you for including us in your Star Wars adventure. We really enjoyed it.
It was great. We really appreciate
You guys,
it.
y'all are our Star Wars family now.
Yeah.
Like,
Yay.
Yes. And it's
now we've got our
amazing.
kids playing together.
Exactly. And it's amazing how similar we are, even though like we live so far apart and we had never met in person. But like so many things are very similar.
It's a very tight knit
Yeah.
family.
Yes.
This
It
Star
is.
Wars universe.
It is.
It's incredible. It's who would have thought? Is just like who would have thought that a movie would do this, or a series of movies would
Yeah.
bring people together like this?
Yep.
Yeah.
Force brought us together.
Exactly. I don't remember who was saying it, but they were saying like celebration is about doing all the things, but there's no way you're going to be able to do all the things all the time. It's really about meeting like-minded people and enjoying your fandom together and appreciating what you love and celebrating it with old friends, new friends, and just like propping everybody up, right? Like you just want to enjoy yourself with,
Yeah.
you know,
Everyone.
everyone.
Yep.
It's just such a great experience that it's, you know, hard to put into words, but
Perfectly said.
Perfectly.
Like-
Yeah.
You nailed it. Well, thank you again, guys, for coming on, and just look forward to seeing you again soon.
I know, I can't wait.
Cannot wait.
All right. Well, if you have enjoyed this conversation, please consider subscribing if you're watching us on YouTube, leaving a comment. If you're listening to this on a podcast, please consider following along, subscribing. There's all kinds of different lingo, but any way that you support us means so much to us. So thank you.
Princess and Scoundrel is part of the Thank the Maker network. So go check out Adam, Ryan, and Nick. Well, kind of Mike's been filling in for them talking about Kenobi, but that season finale is coming up. So, you know, they're going to be super excited. And go check out Armor Party. Mike has a lot of plans for season 2 coming up. So make sure you go check out to see what he's going to be talking about. Until next time.